Hello again, everyone, and welcome to American Idioms Part 34. This is the 34th video in my American Idioms series, and like the others, I'll present 5 idioms to you numbered 166 to 170. But first, I'll give you the chance to guess their meanings. Then I'll explain each of their meanings to you using additional examples to help you to understand them better. So, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Number 166, leave out in the cold. And the example is, everyone in the company got a pay increase, but for some reason, I have been left out in the cold by management. Can you guess the meaning? The answer here is B, to be ignored or excluded from something. And in our example, that's exactly what happened when the person was left out in the cold, was ignored or excluded from getting the raise. Everyone else in the company got the raise, but for some reason, like the example says, that person was left out in the cold, meaning they were excluded from something. Here's another example. Robert was left out in the cold by most of the kids at school because he didn't like playing sports. So in this example, the kids at Robert's school, let's say they ignored him or they didn't like him because he didn't like playing sports. So maybe he didn't have a lot of friends because most of the kids, according to this example, liked playing sports. So he was excluded from that group. Got it? That's what to be left out in the cold means. All right, here's number 167, big stink. And the example is, I couldn't believe that my teacher made a big stink because I didn't hand in my homework assignment yesterday. That was the first time that I missed a homework assignment in her class. Can you guess the meaning? The answer here is C, to complain or make a fuss about something, and that's what the teacher did in our example. She was complaining to this student about not handing in his assignment, and the student didn't believe it because it was the first time that he missed an assignment. So he was saying, well, why is she making a big fuss? Why is she making a big stink? Got it? That's how it's used. Here's another example. My boss usually understands when I'm a few minutes late for work because traffic is very heavy in the morning. But today, he made a big stink about it, and I thought he was going to fire me. Now, in this case, this person couldn't understand their boss, why their boss was making a big stink, why the boss was making a fuss about this, because the boss usually understands. But for some reason, the boss made a big fuss or a big stink about this person being late for work. Got it? All right. Number 168, pit stop. And the example is, we drove almost 250 kilometers to my aunt's house yesterday, and we got there fast because we didn't make any pit stops. Can you guess the meaning? Did you guess A, to stop somewhere for a short period of time? If you did, you're correct. And this is usually used on car trips. We say that we make a stop somewhere for just a short period of time, maybe to go to the bathroom or to get a snack of some kind. And that's what a pit stop is. And that's what happened in our example here too, because they didn't make any pit stops. So they were able to get to their aunt's house very quickly. All right. So they didn't make any pit stops. They didn't stop for any short period of time. Here's another example. I thought I could make the trip without eating dinner, but it was too long of a journey and I had to make a pit stop and eat something. In this case, The person was trying to get somewhere very quickly by not making any stops at all, but then they were hungry, so they made a pit stop to get something to eat. Okay, that's what a pit stop is. All right, number 169, nip something in the bud. And the example is, my parents were able to nip my sugar addiction in the bud by not allowing me to eat any sweets when I was a child. Can you guess the meaning? Did you guess C, to prevent something from getting worse by stopping it in the beginning? If you did, you are correct. And think about a tree. When it's growing, in the beginning, there's buds. And if you cut one of the buds, you stop that part of the tree from growing. And that's really where this comes from. You can see in our example, the person, it seems like, had a problem with sugar. They were addicted to sugar, maybe as an adult. But when they were younger, their parents were able to nip this addiction in the bud before it started by not allowing this person to have sweets as a child. They nipped it in the bud. Here's another example. The new mayor understood the problems with the prior mayor's overfunded policies, so he nipped them in the bud as soon as he took office. So, in this example, the new mayor knew about the problems and he knew how to stop them. He did it as soon as he began his term in office, so he nipped them in the bud in the beginning. So he prevented them from growing or getting worse than they were. Our final idiom, number 170, on the dot. And our example is, my biology teacher is very strict, and he begins class at 8 a.m. on the dot. And if you are 1 minute late, he won't let you in. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is C, at the exact time specified. So this biology teacher specified that he was going to begin class at 8 a.m. on the dot, meaning that exact time. And if you were 1 minute late, he would not let you in the class. Boy, that's a strict teacher, huh? Here's another example. I couldn't believe how punctual my flight was last night. We arrived exactly as expected in Tokyo, 9 p.m. on the dot. So the person's flight arrived exactly as expected, 9 p.m. on the dot, which it seems to me, this is maybe a little bit strange for airlines because they usually arrive, let's say, a little bit earlier or a little bit later than expected or as they were scheduled. That's all for this video. There will be more videos like this coming because I don't want to leave you out in the cold. I want to make sure that you know this stuff, okay? So thanks again for subscribing, and remember what I always say, keep practicing! See you next time.